everyone. Good morning, Scranton scholars and Ewha ladies. As I was introduced, my name is simply O. So if you forget my name, try to remember. Then, oh, he was O. Before I begin my lecture this morning, I'd like to ask a quiz. Do you know what language is spoken most around the world today? Chinese or English or Spanish? Yes. So some intellectuals may say Chinese, Spanish, or English, but the answer is broken English that I'm going to speak from now on. So even if I speak in broken English, because the first English teacher who taught me alphabet, he couldn't speak English at all. So forgive me for speaking broken English. I changed my content a little bit because in the beginning, when I was preparing the lecture, I thought an advanced class, but later on, I changed my mind to share with you where Korea stands today. Because you are here on the Korean Peninsula today, so I will begin with two Koreas on the Korean Peninsula first, and where Korea came from, and how Korea has developed its economy, and why we have some not only economic but also social problems, and what are the lessons for us meaning including me and you from Asia? What lessons for us to draw from Korea's experiences? Then say we'll have some time to discuss afterward. So those are the things I'd like to share with you. I've been to the sports club this morning to look handsome, but originally I was born in a rural area, in a modest country family. Wanted to hide that, so I took a bath. Then I look a little bit older than I am a little bit older than I look, so I am not going to share with you when I was born, but I experienced Korea's economic development from one of the poorest countries to what it is today. Number one, two Koreas on the Korean Peninsula. Good, yes. There are two Koreas on the Korean Peninsula today, South and North. Area-wise, Korea is 100,000 square kilometers. North Korea is 120,000 North Korea is. In terms of rank in the world, Korea 107th in the world, North Korea 97th in the world. So you see how small Korea is. And population size, as of last year, Korea 51 million people, so 50 plus. North Korea 25 million people. In terms of rank in the world, 28th in the world and 52nd in the world. In terms of share in the world has about 7.5 billion people. If we update some say 7.7, let's say 7.5 billion people, then Korea's share is about 0.7%. If two Koreas are unified, Koreans will represent about 1% of the world population. Are you following me? Yes, okay. Then per capita income in terms of US dollars, in the last year, Korea's per capita income reached 30,000 US dollars. North Korea's per capita income, nobody knows, because they don't want to reveal the statistics. But according to many institutions, around $1.5 thousand. In terms of rank, this is 2060 in the world. This doesn't have any meaning. The population per capita makes, as you know, GDP, gross domestic product. 50 million, 30,000 makes $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. This makes $37.5 billion. The world GDP is around $75 trillion, which means this represents about 2% of the global output. In terms of rank, in the last year, this is 12th in the world. Trade volume, in the last year, Korea exported about $600 billion plus, imported $500 billion, which means about $100 billion of trade surplus. Together, $1.1 trillion. This ranks 7th in the world. In terms of export, 6th in the world, because we export more, import less. The world trade volume is about $35 trillion as of last year, which means Korea is trading 3% of the global trade. So you can draw a picture of Korea and North Korea. In terms of share in the world, 0.7% of the world population produce 2% of the world output, 3% of trade, 3% of the global trade. Understand? Okay. 2 points I'd like to share with you. Number 1, if you compare two Koreas, population size 2:1, per capita income wise 20:1. So together this 40:1. So the gap between two Koreas, between North Korea and South Korea, is widening by 40:1 every year. If you are the leader of North Korea, would you be threatened or not? So why the North Korean leader is trying to develop the nuclear weapon? Say, we never agree with them, but we have to understand why. Of course, there is no possibility for South Korea to attack North Korea, but from their perspective, they are threatened. And the North Korean leader is having difficulties feeding his people with this. Interestingly, now that you are from various countries in Asia, interestingly, the world per capita income, have you ever thought about that? The world per capita income is very interesting. As you see, $10,000. $10,000. So if distribution is perfect around the world, then nobody has to suffer from hunger. Are you following me? So the world per capita income is $10,000. In that sense, Korea is, in terms of economic indicators, Korea is better up 3 times as much as the world population. So this is 2 Koreas on the Korean Peninsula. So say I wanted to share this $10,000 of the global per capita income. So you can compare this with your country's per capita income, where my country stands. Are we better off than the world average, or are we worse off than the world average? China is exactly $10,000 of per capita income. But as you know, some people are richest in the world, some are starving. Because of what? You know the answer. So this is the situation of the world. Next. Understanding Korea's economic development. When I was going to elementary school, one general called General Park with 2 stars, 2-star general, he took the power and he promised to people, I will lead the country to overcome poverty. And he was accepted by people because at the time Korea was this poor, $82 per capita income. So with $82, average Koreans have to live for how many days? 30 days, 100 days, 365 days. How much money are you spending during your stay here? So think about $82. $82. So how poor Korea was. And I was going to elementary school at the time. Then 73, it became 4 or 6. This has a very important meaning, $1 per day. The United Nations define poverty by a $1 a day definition. So if one country's per capita income reaches $1 per day, that country is said to have overcome poverty. So for the first time in Korea's long history, you may have learned by now 4,000 years of history. For the first time, average Koreans could afford 3 meals a day. So in those days, average Korean's dream was to have 3 meals a day, including myself. But now I am having sometimes 2 meals a day, not because of the shortage of budget, but because I want to be on a diet. So the same generation who experienced poverty in childhood are on a diet. So this is the big change. In 1977, it became $1,000. In 1994, $10,000. 2006, $20,000. Last year, $30,000. So you can see the dramatic economic growth over the past 50 plus years. Some people say condensed growth. Condensed growth. Some people say Han River's miracle, because in Seoul, the Han River flows in the middle. So that is a positive side of Korea's economic development. Positive side of Korea's economic development. Then if I share with you only positive side, you may not be happy. So I am going to share one negative side. This is suicide rate in Korea since 2003 has been number 1 in the world. The highest in the world. Suicide rate. What's wrong with it? Economically, Korea has shown condensed growth, and some say even miracle, but suicide rate since 2003 has been the highest in the world. Do you want develop Indonesia to be such or not? Do you want to follow Korea's development? I mean, I'm not sure. I have to think about it. So I am sharing this with you let's think about it. Let's think about it. What is the economic development for? Was it our goal in the beginning to reach economic growth while we are not happy? Or some are not happy, even committing suicide. Then I want to share why that happened. Why that happened. So I mean, since you are from Asia, your country's development strategy is different. Of course, when Korea began its economic development, your countries were ahead because Korea was behind every Asian neighbors. When Korea's per capita income was $82, that of Philippines was $270. That of Malaysia was $280. So we couldn't even compete against the Philippines or Malaysia. Then that's why I said here, growth strategy. At the time, there were two economists. One called Hirschman, he proposed unbalanced growth strategy. Another economist called Noxie, he proposed balanced economic development. What does it mean? What does it mean? With less than $100, however much you may save, it's not easy to finance the development project because Korea was too poor. So instead of financing all different projects, why don't we pour our resources available to support promising industries, promising entrepreneurs? Are you following me? So that is called unbalanced growth strategy. Unbalanced, not balanced. Unbalanced growth strategy proposed by Dr. Hirschman. Balanced growth strategy proposed by Noxie. North Korea followed balanced growth strategy. South Korea followed unbalanced growth strategy. As a result, Korea could develop its economy very fast. That's the benefit. But as a result, there emerged gap. Some people like blue jean gap, but this is not the blue jean gap, but the gap in the society. Now, all of you know Samsung. Samsung means 3 stars. Yesterday you've been to Samsung Innovation Center. But in the beginning, Samsung was a very small store. The founder of Samsung, Lee Byung-chul, was born in 1910, and he began his small store without any significant resources. Today, every one of you got to know Samsung electronics and Samsung cellular phone. So there emerged so-called conglomerates or big corporations, while there are many, many small and medium-sized companies. So they call it gap. The gap between the big conglomerates and small and medium-sized enterprises. The gap between the urban area and the rural area. So you have no time to visit rural area in Korea, but if you visit rural area, is it the same as Seoul metropolitan area, or may it be different from Seoul metro area? Are you sleeping? So then, most importantly, the gap between the rich and the poor. In the past, virtually everybody was poor, not much different. But today, billionaires and the poorest. So because of this unbalanced growth strategy, thanks to the unbalanced growth strategy, Korea could achieve condensed growth like this. Due to the unbalanced growth strategy, side effect is the gap in the society. That's what I wanted to share with you. Are you following me? Okay. Okay. 4. Like this. Who is studying? So then I want to share with you an economist studying. Professor Easterling was a professor at University of Pennsylvania at the time. Today he is not with UPenn. At the time, he was a professor there. And in 1974, he published an interesting article as an economist. Interesting article as an economist. Economics is the subject to develop the economy, as you know. Then he talked about this. Does economic growth improve the human lot? So he talked about happiness, human lot. That was his question. Does economic growth improve the human lot? What do you think? Yes or no? In some sense, yes. What do you think? Huh? Not always. Okay. What do you think? No? Uh-huh. What do you think? No? Do you want to be rich, or do you want to stay poor? Stay poor? What do you think? Huh? You want to be rich? Me too. Okay. Okay. So let's think about that. I will divide the stage into two. I will divide the stage into two, like this. This is poverty. During this period, when Koreans could not afford 3 meals a day, then economic growth does help or does not help the human lot. Right? If you cannot afford 3 meals a day, then you would want to be rich to be able to afford 3 meals a day. Agree? But once you reach this point, then not necessarily economic growth matters so much. Economic growth matters much, but not so much as people think. Do you agree? Okay. This is very important point, and this is the point I want to share with you in my lecture today. Okay, his conclusion, Eastering's conclusion is this. Once basic needs are met, economic growth does not necessarily improve the human lot. Agree or not? Agree. So today it's common sense because all of you agree. But back then, no economists published such an article about happiness. So that is called today Eastering paradox. If you see around, everybody would like to be rich. They don't have time to think what they would spend if they make money, because they are too busy to make money. So they don't think beyond that. But now that you are Scranton scholars or Ewha ladies who joined this scholars leadership program, Scranton-Ewha leaders program, you have to think before you make money. If I make money, what am I going to spend for? Why I want to be rich? Before you become rich, let's think about that first. Whenever I teach my class, the first class I spend to understand the content of the book. In general, professors never finish the book. Usually, the semester ends in the middle. Is it or not? In general, then, say, they don't finish the book. So I devote the first class to understand what this book is about until the end, using the content. Is it, do you think it's a waste of time or it helps to understand the book? Yes. So, my advice to you is this. Of course, you want to make money, you want to be rich, but before you become rich, please think, if I become rich, what am I going to spend money for? Then it will help you during the process. It will help you at the end of the day. Many of my friends went to paradise now. Many of my friends were too busy making money, so they didn't expect to leave the earth. So when they died, then they didn't prepare at all. So then their children, if there are plural, will they become closer or will they become what do you think? Many of their children are fighting against each other for the leftover. And I'm working for a law firm, so many of them come to our firm to settle their suit. So, you understand my proposal. You are here, of course, to develop the leadership. But during your stay here, let's think what I want to do when I become rich, when I become leader. You are future leaders. So current leaders are teaching you. Then, so when you become leaders, then what do you want to do? Let's think about that. Okay. Number 4, number 5. Leadership. Say, too serious, so I want to make a joke in the middle to wake you up. There are many, many ships in the world. So I'd like to share with you 3 ships. So I heard, say, over there. Friendship. Okay, friendship. Okay, so I will think about 3 ships. Friendship and what else? Hardship? Okay, hardship, okay. Hardship, okay. Which ship? Another one? Relationship, okay. Relationship. And when you graduate from college, when you join the society, you will meet. Agree? Okay, so I am going to talk about 3 ships. Now that you joined the first Scranton-Ewha Leaders Program, then you are alumni, right? So you created relationships with your friends. I do business with global CEOs, regional CEOs, and country CEOs every day. I'm consulting for their business strategy. But my proposal to them is this. Partnership is good, but partnership has one default. What is that? In parentheses, partnership has business partnership. So partnership ends when business ends. Do you agree? Yes. When business exists, we are business partners. But when business ends, then we don't remain partnership anymore. We don't remain partners anymore. So I propose friendship. Because you are friends. You have become friends. And you communicate with your friends for money, for business, or for friendship. For friendship. So if you upgrade your partnership to friendship, friendship ends until the end of your life. So during your program here, which ship do you want to create? So that's what so there are many ships. Among those ships, friendship is the best I want to propose. Leadership. In the 21st century, in my opinion, success is what? So I want to ask each one of you, what is your definition of success? Being happy. Good, good. What is your definition of success? Huh? Okay. Getting the value that you want. Okay. It's a victory. Success is a victory. What is your definition? Being busy. Being busy. Are you not busy today? What is your definition?
Being passionate about what is right, then when that happens.
What is your definition? Achievement. Huh? Yours?
Make everyone successful.
Make everyone successful. Okay. I changed my definition so many times. But at the age of 60, I defined success as to become a person wanted to meet by friends. So I want to be a person want to be met by my friends. Do you agree or not? Do you agree? Okay. That's my definition of success. So I like to be called Dr. O, but I like to be called Miss U also. When some people call me Miss U, then I'm happy. Agree or not? Then, the next question is, how? How can you become such a person? That's the question. Yes, say, if I become a person, want to be met by many friends, I'm successful. But then how? My answer is too simple. So before I share my answer, then let's think about leadership. In the past, leader means the person who leads. Right? The person who leads the group. That was the definition until the 20th century. But these days, leader not only leads the group, but also serves the group. Serve. Serve. Good. Very good. So the same as my definition. My definition is not only leads a group plus, but also cares for those behind. Agree? So the same, right? Serves. Say, if 20 people are running, then the leader used to run at the front. But these days, the leader has to run behind the group. Right? Sometimes you have to lead the group, but sometimes you have to run behind to take care of the person behind. Do you agree? Do you want to be the leader in the 20th century, or do you want to be the leader in the 21st century? So that's the point I want to share with you today. Okay. Changing role of leaders today. Many people want to become famous, recognized by others. But if you want to become a person whom your friends want to meet again, then what do you do? So my answer is Say, how? My answer is make a profit, make a loss. In relationship with your friends, do you want to make profit or want to lose? My advice is always try to lose in relationship with your friends. I can read your face. I don't want to become such a person. I am wearing more than 10 hats, including the chair of the board of Scranton-Leadership Center. My main job is to consult for global leaders. But I teach at my alma mater, Seoul National University. And I am the president of Junior Achievement Korea. So many, say more than 10 hats I am wearing. The chairman of the board of Scranton Standard Chartered Bank Korea. But other than my main job, I do all the things from my budget. Budget meaning not only money but also time. Then say, I have to be very poor today, but I am not. Because poverty, once you reach this point, until you reach this point, basic needs are met. Beyond that, poverty, richness does not necessarily mean tangible assets alone. Some people said, I want to be happy. Happiness, who decides your happiness?
I myself decide my happiness.
Right, yes, you yourself decide. So it may be related to material things, but it may not be related to material things. When you do something good for your friends, are you unhappy? No, you are doing those things willingly, then you are happy. If you are forced to do so, you are unhappy. So who decides your destiny? Who decides your life? Yourself. So my last comment is leadership. The first chapter of leadership is please be a leader of yourself. Many people live others' lives. Do you agree? What others would think about me? I don't say don't care, but please care less about others' perception on you. I will share one video at the end of today's discussions. But there, then one person said, don't tell your friends by your problems. Because 90% of people don't care. 10% of people are glad that you have them. So it never helps you. So don't tell others by your problems. That's a message by a famous speaker. I will share with you later. So that's the point. Be a leader of your life. And try not to win always. Try to lose. Then you will be successful in the sense of becoming a person wanted by your friends. think about a situation. Today, I feel melancholy. I want to spend some time with my friend. You want to call one of your friends to share. Can you think of one person you can call sometime? Does she always try to win, or is she willing to share her precious time with you when you are in need? So she is losing, but you want to meet her when you are in need. Then she is successful. Do you agree? So then that's a leadership. Very simple. If you always try to win, you will never be wanted by your friends. So that is my message today. Happiness, you decide your happiness. But once you meet your basic needs, happiness does not necessarily come from material things. You decide your happiness. Lastly, when you see me, my question, was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? Or no? How do you know? Was I born with a mud stone in my mouth? Say, silver spoon? Mud spoon? I'm asking about me. What do you think? Was I born with a silver spoon? Yes. Nobody. Was I born with a mud spoon? That's what I want to share with you lastly. So, internet, Louis Holt, then you can find on the internet, Louis Holt. 아, 거기 있나? 그럼 내가 찾으면 되지. 오케이. 아, L-O-U-I-S. 홀츠. L-L-T-Z. 아, 오케이. 아, S. 이건데 그거 말고 그거는 너무 길고 짧은 게 있는데 영어로 하니까 그렇구나. 아, 여기, 아니 네이버로 해야 되겠다. 아, 한글로 해도 돼. 거기. 루이 홀츠라고 쳐. 홀츠. 츠 홀츠. 아니야. 여기 있지, 여기 이거 틀어봐 이거. 6분짜리 이거. 밑에 이거 틀으면 돼. 그거. 이거 아까 그 동영상이 있어. 아까 그 다시 틀면 돼.
I want you to know this. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia. I want you to know this. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia. And I went by where I was born last night, about 10:30. I was born in a cellar at home, delivered by Dr. McGraw. We had one bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. We had a half bath and a kitchen. 7.5 years we lived in that place. There was no welfare. There was no food stamps. There was no safety net. But I always had plenty to eat. Because every time I asked for seconds, my dad would say, no, you had plenty. But the reason I was born with a silver spoon, my dad had only gone to the 3rd grade. That's all the education he had. But why was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? Because I was taught by my parents that life's a matter of making choices, wherever you are, good or bad, because of choices you make. Don't blame anybody else, but if you get an education, you're willing to work and overcome problems and difficulties, in this great country, you can amount to something. That's why I was born with a silver spoon. I was in this country and I was taught personal responsibility for choices you make. And when we talk about a commitment to excellence, that's a choice you make. What do you want to do? Having hopes and dreams and ambitions. See, I think that is absolutely critical. Don't make the mistake I made. I've done a lot of dumb things, but let me tell you the one thing I regret. We went to the University of Notre Dame. We took a program on the bottom. We took it to the very top. And for 9 straight years, we went to a January 1 bowl, the sugar, the cotton, the orange, or the fiesta. Nobody's done it before. Nobody's done it since. We put it on top and we maintained it. That's the thing I regret the most. See, there's a rule in life that said you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's either growing or it's dying. So's grass, so's a marriage, so's a business, so's a person. Doesn't have a thing to do with age. My birthday candles cost more than a cake. But it has everything to do. Am I trying to get better? Am I trying to prove? We got on top and say, you know, this is pretty good. Let's maintain it. Let's not take any risk. We finished second in the country at Notre Dame. Everybody called me an idiot. Guy finishes last in medical school. They call him doctor. That doesn't seem fair. When I left Notre Dame, I never thought I'd coach again. Where'd you go from Notre Dame? According to my mother, you go directly to heaven. You sit by the Pope. You don't coach anymore. And then I went to live in a town where the average age was deceased. And what I found out, I wasn't tired of coaching. You have to have something to hope for, something to dream. And even though you've done great things so far, what's going to happen now? I want to give you a simple plan. Life doesn't have to be complicated. I try to keep life simple. Do you realize there are only 7 colors of the rainbow? Only 7. Look what Michelangelo did with those 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with those 7 notes. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with those 10 numbers. The point I make is it doesn't have to be complicated. See, you need 4 things in your life. If you don't have any of these 4 things in your life, you're going to have a tremendous void. See, everybody needs something to do. Number 2, everybody needs someone to love. Number 3, everybody needs someone to believe in. In my case, is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But the 4th thing you need in your life is you need something to hope for. What do you want to do? There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. And there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Just do what's right. I think it's right to be honest, right to be on time. See, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy life. Have fun. You're going to have problems. You're going to have difficulties. That's part of life. And don't tell people about your problems. Do you know that 90% of the people don't care? And the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off to keep it yourself. You're going to have problems. But have fun with what you're doing. Do everything to the best of your ability with time allotted. You know, ladies and gentlemen, not all of us be all-American. Not everybody can be first team. Everybody can be the best you're capable of being. And I want to tell you, if you want to fail, you have the right to fail. That's what's great about this country. You do not have the right to cause other people to fail because you don't do everything best your ability. When you join a spouse, you bring a child in the world, you join a business, you join a team. You have obligation, responsibilities, and you owe it to other people to do the maximum you can at each and everything you do. It's not complicated. And the last rule is show people you care. When you walk in the room, your attitude, hey, here I am, look at me. It's like, no. Your attitude, there you are, how can I help you? Statue of it another day. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land, but if you go look at it, just don't look at 3 words on the pedestal. Trust, commitment, love.
Do you agree? Yes. My last message is this. Life is from birth to death. And you are here. So between B and D, there is C. I read C as choice. You have not chosen to be born with your family. You were given birth by your mother, regardless of your will. So birth, you have not chosen. So if you feel, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I was born with a mud spoon in my mouth, it's your choice. Because it's gone. You cannot change your birth. So from this point, the choice is your way of thinking. So I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth because my mother committed her life to her only son's education, me. So I don't expect more because I received my mother's full support during my childhood. So I feel myself, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Materially, it may not be too much, but it was enough for me to grow up, thanks to my mother's full support. And all of you will become mothers. So think about that. Then you choose. You have chosen to become leaders in your country, respective countries. So think about what leaders mean in the 21st century. You have chosen to commit your life for the betterment of your people. That's what I believe. That's why you have been chosen to be Scranton scholars to attend Scranton-Ewha Leaders Program. Think about it. Thank you for your attention.